Lopez, come to the door. Come on, get up and come to the door. Come on, get up.
The man you see face down on the floor of this prison cell is 35-year-old Christopher Lopez. He is serving a 4-year sentence at the San Carlos Correctional Facility in Pueblo, Colorado for assaulting a prison guard after a previous trespassing conviction. Lopez has been diagnosed with bipolar and schizoaffective disorder. Nothing else is known besides that, but as you're about to see, Lopez is going to be exhibiting an array of troubling symptoms caught on camera. As you're also about to see, despite there being plenty of indication that something isn't right with Lopez, none of the guards can be bothered to come to his aid. Consequently, what follows is a documentation of events captured during the final 6 hours of Christopher Lopez's life. You've seen the first few seconds or so, but if you're remotely curious as to what leads to Mr. Lopez's demise, the only thing to do is stay tuned.
Hey, Lopez. Lopez, it's Gonzalez here, man. Are you doing all right? Hey, Lopez, look up at me. I just want to make sure you're doing all right. Lopez. Hey, do you remember me, Gonzalez? I work day shift. Do you remember me? Lopez. Hey, I can't help you if you don't acknowledge me.
So we open up with him lying there under his bed, face down on the floor, and guards are trying to coax Lopez to come out from under the bed. To me, this gets really frustrating throughout the video in general because it's as if it doesn't once cross their minds that maybe it's not that Lopez is being insubordinate, maybe instead he's just not capable of following their orders. This whole video is just an excellent testament to how little illnesses are understood by those in law enforcement, or in corrections, I should say.
I need you to do more than just move your head a little bit. Can you move it all? Can you bring your arms out front from underneath your body, Lopez? Can you bring your arms? Show me that you're going to cooperate here. Show me a little cooperation so I can help you out. Can you lift your legs up or anything to show me that you're listening to me? Something. You drug yourself out that far. Can you come up here closer to the door? Lopez. Lopez, turn your face so I can see you. Turn your head so I can see you. There you go. What's going on, man? Can you talk at all? Lopez, what's going on? Come on. You got to do more than lift your head up. You got to kind of get yourself over here to the door. There's no way I can help you if you don't let me, man. He wants to actually respond, but he just can't. I don't know if he's...
Right there, this guy, Rodriguez, gives off some indication that Lopez might not be exactly capable of responding, but it also looks like there isn't very much he can do about it. Apparently, if an inmate is incapable of following certain commands, whatever they may be, then they're just SOL. Lopez remains lying on the floor, seemingly unable to react to much of anything.
Hey, Lopez, they're suiting up the team. I'm pretty much your last straw, dude. And then they're gonna introduce Ispra, dude, so, we don't want to have to do it, but if you don't come over here, man, this is it. I need you to come to the door. I understand you're having some medical conditions, but you have to work with me to be able to help you, man. You can move your arm pretty good. I see you moving your right arm. Come on over here. Lopez, do you understand what I'm telling you? Lift your head up if you understand what I'm telling you. Well, that's a pretty good response there, so why don't you just come on over to the door so we can take care of this, so we can give you the medical treatment that you need. I've already got nurses already sitting out here waiting to see you.
So threats ultimately aren't going to work in this scenario. At this point, they could threaten to wreak havoc on his whole family, and I don't think it would make any difference. Again, it's just astonishing that they don't seem to understand this as a whole.
Yeah, if we just get him to cuff up, we can get him some help.
Need a break?
No, I'm fine.
You've been down here about an hour or so, haven't you?
I've been standing here about an hour and 45 minutes.
That long?
Mm-hmm.
Sure you don't want a break?
Yeah. Have they said what they're going to do?
No. Sounds like they're going to have to come up with something.
And yet, there we have it. That is an acknowledgement on another guard's behalf that maybe Mr. Lopez could use some help. At face value, it seems like a nice thing. We want to help you, and all you need to do for that to happen is to comply with our orders and cuff up. Well, for one, that's a lot easier said than done for Lopez. And second of all, as you're going to see in just a moment or two, once the nurse finally does allow herself the time to meet with Mr. Lopez, I hate to say it, but their meeting is an absolute joke. In general, guards have no clue what the hell they're doing when it comes to treating or even just interacting with the mentally ill. To me, a person who happens to have familiarity with these disorders and who has spent many hours working amongst a mentally ill population, to me it's confusing as hell to see all this time that gets spent with people attempting to get various things accomplished. Like trying to get Lopez to voluntarily stand up and go cuff up, for example. This is a perfect example. For me, it might have taken, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes tops to arrive at the conclusion that this man is experiencing either a state of catatonia or else he's in a state that similarly is not and will not allow him to stand up and cuff up. He's not going to do it because either his mental and or physical state won't allow it. This would have been my first assumption. And so I hate to call it ridiculous, but that's more or less how it seems to me, the way they continue insisting as if this is something he has conscious control over and all it's going to take is the right person to get through to him. But hey, this is precisely why there are so many people stressing the need for mental health reform within the jail and prison system, right? The other interesting thing about this last clip is just the fact that pretty shortly here, you're going to see that the guards seem to care less about whether or not Lopez is even being monitored by anyone. Whereas here, it sounds as if one guard has, according to him, been standing there for nearly 2 hours just monitoring Lopez. But let's go ahead and keep watching. It's in this next clip that we're first introduced to the lieutenant in charge.
The offender is refusing to come to the door to cuff up. He is exhibiting some inability, maybe possible medical conditions, but he does respond to us to some degree, trying to come to the door, but he will not completely comply with that. We do not have the staff adequately to conduct OC discharge with this. Mr. Lopez, this is Lieutenant Osui. You need to come to the door and cuff up. Offender Lopez. It's the second time. You need to come to the door and cuff up, or we will have the team come in and remove you from your cell. Offender Lopez, this is your third chance to come to the door and cuff up, or we will have the team enter your cell.
At this point, we get to meet Lieutenant Hisui, and right away this guy just rubs me the wrong way. He acknowledges that Lopez might have some sort of a medical condition, but then he goes on to talk as if Lopez is voluntarily choosing to disobey their commands. The words and phrasing he elects to use, they go toward painting a pretty inaccurate or misleading picture at best. For example, he says, the offender is refusing to come to the door. This naturally makes it sound as if Lopez is deliberately giving the guards a hard time. Obviously, that isn't the case. Yet when the lieutenant tells the camera that Lopez is being non-compliant, etc., the way he words it all insinuates again that Lopez is being purposely belligerent or difficult. Then in talking to Lopez, he continues with the threats, which we've seen quite a bit of already, but also his referring to Lopez as offender Lopez. This, of course, works as a way of dehumanizing the inmate and of creating emotional distance as well. When you walk up to someone and you say, hey, offender Lopez, this is Lieutenant Hisui, this just automatically works to place you up here and them down here. And then another thing I can't really stand is when we get to hear Lieutenant Hisui threaten this inmate, who I would say objectively doesn't look to be doing very well, that he's going to count to 3, much like a parent does to a disobedient child, and that if Lopez isn't 100% alert and ready to go by then they're going to have to come in and get him to move forcibly. This is going to be precisely what happens next.
The offender refuses to comply with directives, will not come to the door and cuff up. Team leader, you have permission to enter cell.
Now, hands out. Stop resisting. Good. Put you in that cell right there.
Carlino went to get restrained. We're going to put him in full strip out restraint and strip him out.
Yeah.
So the lieutenant turns to the team and gives them the official okay to enter Lopez's cell, and that's what they do. Immediately we hear someone crying out for help, and I can imagine it only makes sense for this to be Lopez, after which one of the team members tells him to stop resisting. The camera doesn't seem to capture Lopez resisting from what I see, but if at any point throughout this his body may be tensed up a bit, my guess is that it probably wasn't a conscious or purposeful act on his part. It's unlikely that anyone can predict this, but Lopez is only a short while away from undergoing a series of life-threatening seizures. And so in that context, it makes sense that his body should be undergoing all kinds of twitching and tensing up and just odd variations of that. Back to the video, however, after the team succeeds in getting the cuffs onto Lopez, then they place him into what I'm just going to refer to throughout this as a restraint chair, and then a nurse or a medical employee of some sort appears to give Lopez one of the most cursory examinations in the existence of medical examinations. And then they proceed to roll him into another cell where he's now going to remain handcuffed and shackled with his head in a spit hood, prohibited from leaving this chair even if he could.
Are we taking him back?
No.
Leaving him right here.
He's gotta be here for a couple hours.
In the restraint chair?
Yep. Yes.
We're done.
It's a transport chair.
I put the keys in the restraint chest. Oh. Yeah, go ahead and close it.
Sitting on the thing, so you look a little...
At 0500, the offender was pulled from the cell, placed in the restraint chair, or the transport chair, medically evaluated. He was taken to intake, where strip out was conducted at 0520. At 525, he was placed back in the chair due to the fact that the offender would not sit up straight, and it appeared that he would tip over and fall and possibly injure himself that way. Team conducted, no injuries were induced.
So there you have it. We watched the team come in, throw him into this restraint/transport chair. They do what they do and then leave him alone in another private cell, albeit with the cameras still rolling in Lopez's direction. And then of course we get to hear another summary.
And debriefing was conducted at 5:45. No issues at that point. We had him out, we just put him back in, and he started acting like he was going to tip over.
He already stripped everything and everything.
He wouldn't sit up. Now, you stay long.
Yeah, you can't leave him sitting like this. fighting called really off the cars going on. You can be sitting in a chair. Just tell her if he won't stand or whatever he's doing. I think it's a good idea to leave him.
Okay, so we're gonna take a header and split himself up.
As the countdown toward Lopez's death continues, the very next scene is going to depict the first of several grand mal seizures that Lopez is going to be seen having on camera. With that said, I thought hard about my options here, and in the end, although it's never my preference to censor anything, I've decided that due to YouTube's guidelines and due to the disturbing nature of the following scene, it's probably in my best interest to blur out some of what takes place. If for any reason you do want to see the uncensored and ad-free version of this video, just see the description box for a link to my Patreon.
Did I call you? Well, I don't know, it was breathing kind of funny. I don't know if he had a seizure or not. So is that a seizure? Oh. Looked like he might have done something goofy. Then he went into the weird staccato breathing. And this is him relaxing after the... You know how they do that when they relax? Mm-hmm. We get in trouble for not doing things.
So right about here, this is around when we start to hear guard chatter around the vicinity yet again. The imagery is still relatively unpleasant, so I'm leaving it blurred out for now, but I did want you guys to hear the conversation that was being had right as Lopez sits there. Now he's just slumped over to his right. He's unable to correct his posture or lift himself back up, and by the sound of his breathing, he may be hyperventilating or simply just, this is his body struggling to recover from the seizure he just had. And in fact, it's actually quite bizarre to listen to them conversing like this. After we know that Lopez has just suffered this massive seizure, it's odd the way we can hear guards talking as if they just returned from wherever they went off to, and now they're actually discussing the possibility of Lopez having had a seizure. They're like, I don't know, he's breathing kind of funny, and I don't know if maybe he had a seizure or not. I swear, these guards, even upon finally entering his cell and looking at him from a close distance, these guys still don't call for an ambulance. All they can do is just remove Lopez from the chair and place him on the floor, still restrained, as you're about to see.
Stand up. Stand up. Take a pen or something else. I wonder if we get the slide. But, yeah, if he moves and get up, just kind of adjust it for him.
Stay down here then?
Yeah, you gotta have constant supervision on it. What time did he go in there? 5:30?
This is the position Mr. Lopez is going to remain in for the rest of his life, more or less. And it isn't enough to leave him there and do nothing, but they're actually going to take to ridiculing him as well. It's not always easy to understand what the guards are saying, but remember to try and pay attention to the quips that some of these guards make as the footage plays along. In some instances, it's just inane chatter that doesn't even necessarily have to do with Lopez, and on other occasions it gets to be downright vile, and I'll try to point it out sporadically when I can. In this next part, that Lopez is going to suffer from yet another grand mal seizure, or several. It's hard to tell whether the following symptoms are all part of the same seizure, or else if there are several seizures that took place one after the other. Either way, in addition to blurring the visual aspect, this time I found it apt to mute out some of the audio as well. So here's the rest of that footage.
Alright, man. Holler if anything changes. Okay.
Like you should stop breathing?
Yeah, you see the fourth floor when they bring their chow cart? Actually, no. Leave it. Maybe we need to take it back up when he's done. He'll be alright.
Alright. I knew where to jump in. I knew where to jump in. Yeah, I went to Walmart this morning because they were supposed to have a shipment and the guy said no. So. What's going on? Where is your team at lunch already? No, I was here. I can't believe these poor motherfuckers are lost in the woods, you know? That guy talking motherfucker, you know? Lopez. He can swallow his teeth, I don't care.
Did everyone hear all of that? He could swallow his teeth. I don't care. That's what he actually said about this human being who's laying there dying. He said, all out in the open, like he's not worried about being negatively judged because, hey, this type of shit probably gets said all the time. He actually said he could swallow his teeth. I don't care. It's literally heartless. And this is, of course, only one of the many statements made by these jailers in charge of watching him and caring for him on this day. A little while before this, if you recall, there was a conversation where one guy had said, holler if anything changes, to which the other guy quips, like if he should stop breathing. And again, there isn't really any more for me to say about this. I'm convinced that if you have any semblance of humanity in you at all, then it's going to go without saying why these statements are deemed as vile as they are.
He didn't even piss on himself, so he's not seizing. You know, 95% of the time when they seize, you know, everybody would say my name, word, Silas. He's just, I don't know, visited by alcohol. So I went to my, all my courses taken, and everything's already taken color. Okay. He was drop the trousers, but.
How's our man doing down here?
Well,
Sleeping?
he's sleeping basically. He's pretty quiet right now. He rolled over.
Lopez! You want to go back up to your cell yet? Lopez! You need to get up and come to the door and talk to me. I'm not going to take you off special controls. Get up and come over here and talk to me. And we'll get you back up to your house so you can lay in your bed and rest. Lopez! Well, as soon as the nurse is free, we'll do a restraint check on him and he can remain until he responds. This is what got him where he's at.
Hey, this is Roman. Mr. Christopher Lopez is down here. And we're probably going to have to do a restraint check in the Oh, him? Okay. Okay, bye. You've been notified.
Go ahead. San Carlos, Chase. Well, good morning. Oh, we have a fella down here on special patrols. His name is Christopher Lopez. You need his number?
Throughout this footage, we mostly never see any of these people. We only hear them because as Lopez lays there on the floor having multiple seizures and slowly dying, the staff of this institution just lets that happen. They never once enter the cell, with the exception of times when they went down to go exert force. They never once go anywhere near Lopez. I can't believe that this still goes on in this country. This video was recorded in 2013. Still, I believe that in 2013, the U.S. was still considered a civilized country, and yet, of course, so we're left with this angle of Lopez lying there, which at best I can only describe as humiliating and heartbreaking. This right here almost looks barbaric, even as this man lays dying on this nasty, dirty cell floor, because let's not lie, that's exactly what we're looking at here, is just a man who is dying while the camera records him having these horrible seizures, and while guards casually are heard discussing things like going to Walmart in the background, and yet this is how primitive our society is. We're so unevolved that it's not enough to let the man die in the first place, because saving him would have been seriously easy, but we apparently can't even let the man die with a shred of dignity at least. He's on the floor. He's being recorded. He's being commented on and laughed at. And then he's also shackled and belly chained, immobilized like some kind of animal. They record and make fun of him after he suffers this handful of seizures, which frankly are just painful to even look at. They never once consider calling an ambulance. They never once consider saving this man's life.
They went in and got the guy, and brought him down here and placed him on special patrols. Right now it's 7:30, well, it's a little after 7:30, but it's the 2-hour mark. And I was just gonna take him back up to his cell if he was behaving. I mean, he's not doing anything, but he's still displaying the same behavior. He won't talk, he won't respond, he's just laying there breathing. I want to keep him. Yeah, when we get him in, I'll be here before 9 or around that time, just to give a chance.
Okay.
Because I'm not taking him out here, I'm talking about him here, you know, it's a mental health type of thing.
Lopez, do you take your meds?
But I've got the nurse down right now, we're getting ready to.
This much. Horse down here?
Yeah.
I forgot to grab
water? Whatever?
I don't care. It's not small.
Not small.
I don't have small hands.
Looking for a bathroom right away. Everywhere you're gonna go, you're gonna be looking for a bathroom.
Try to sleep with the thing on my finger all night long.
It's never happened before. Bring that.
Yeah, you better have it handy.
Little George will control him.
Lopez.
Lopez. You wanna leave him on the floor here?
That's fine.
We'll do a restraint check on him also. Nurse is gonna give you a shot. You go check your strength also?
Yeah. Let me just set this over here so nobody gets poked.
Lopez, when you get up and you can talk to me calmly, we'll get you out of these restraints. We'll get you back into your house. You need to calm down and you get up and you act right. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Already done here.
We'll be back about.
These people see nothing wrong, they not know what they are. Mm-hmm. What can I say?
Hello.
Don't be clearing your throat like that.
How's that? Is that all right? So what's he doing now? Smells like he's eating all over the place.
No, this is
No? Okay.
No, he hasn't done anything that I see.
Are you sure isn't that urine soaked?
No.
No?
They just stripped it off and they put him in those controls.
Mr. Lopez? It's Miss Newmeister, supervisor here, mental health on call. If you can hear me, like, move your head. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? I can see you breathing.
I'm sorry, but for a mental health professional, this woman is absolute garbage. Here she goes again, like the rest of the staff, talking to him and expecting him to answer without taking his medical illness into account. But for people who have presumably had the training, like our nurse here, it really is inexcusable. And I originally had so much more that I was going to say, but to me, it just sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, you guys. It literally does.
What's wrong? Don't you like it on 3 right?
He was on 4 right.
4 right? I can't tell if he's breathing.
You know, real raspy breathing earlier.
Okay. Open your eyes. Thank you. He died.
He took a deep breath.
Yeah.
He's still on the floor.
Uh-huh.
He likes it.
I like him over there.
Yeah. It's all right on the floor. I don't know. Isn't that terrible?
One of the most disgusting exchanges for me takes place right there at the end, where we can hear the two of them go back and forth, both making these totally distasteful and evil-spirited remarks about how Lopez likes being on the floor and how good Lopez looks on the floor. What kind of a conversation is this? What kind of observations are these? The worst part isn't even that they're unprofessional, it's that they're indicative of psychopathy, in my opinion. Two people with zero empathy is what it sounds like. The last thing I want to say on that is that I understand the need or desire for gallows humor in situations like these, but to me this isn't what this comes across as at all. This to me isn't even humor, it's just bizarre and sick. It's already been said, but I don't care because evidently it hasn't been said nearly enough. No one comes to his aid, not even to wipe the drool off of his chin this time. It's just allowed to collect there as the camera continues to roll along. And he's got on these shorts that are big and white and billowy, which resemble some one-size-fits-all adult diaper of sorts. Seriously, how much more demeaning can we get here, people? Oh, well, I guess, in case you hadn't noticed, his head is only what looks like a few inches away from that nasty jail toilet as well, so I guess we can make shit more demeaning after all. Let's just continue.
And if you don't think he needs it, then that's fine too. I mean, because I'm going to take him upstairs, take him out of chains, throw him on his bed and walk away.
Okay.
Yeah, because last time we did this, we didn't give him a chance. We were just trying to get him to blah, blah, blah. We cut him loose and they kind of got mad.
Yeah.
But yeah, as soon as Tim was done running around down here, we'll get him.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and use strength techniques to lift him up and bring him out. You got a pulse?
Stay clear of patient. No shock advised. Be sure emergency medical services have been called.
As for the rest of this footage, I think it's all pretty self-explanatory. As happens in so many similar cases, there comes a point where suddenly everyone goes scrambling to save the person only after it's way too late, and it makes me mad because you know they have to have seen this coming. Yet the moment an inmate suddenly records no vitals, I just can't help but wonder, who are they putting on a show for exactly? They didn't care before, so it's going to take a lot more to convince me that anybody cares now. I'm sorry. Call me naive, but I think it would have been a lot easier to save him if they'd tried, I don't know, maybe 6 hours ago, instead of trying to do it now. The rest of the footage continues with efforts at resuscitation, which all prove to be in vain. Christopher Lopez died on the floor, face down, at the San Carlos prison on March 17, 2013, at just the age of 35. His death was officially attributed to severe hyponatremia, which by the accounts I came across, seems to be treatable when it's recognized on time. For those who aren't too familiar with it, according to the Mayo Clinic, hyponatremia is defined as a condition that happens when the level of sodium in the blood is lower than the typical range. All previous cases of hyponatremia that I've personally heard of were all caused by the patient's usually accidental overconsumption of water, because when one drinks excessive amounts of water, that tends to dilute the sodium in one's blood. There have also been several cases of prison deaths attributed to hyponatremia due to the fact that some people with schizophrenia are prone to developing a condition where they cannot stop craving water. Therefore, when left unobserved and to their own devices, they'll sometimes end up actually overdosing on water. yes, it is possible to consume water to a point where it becomes lethal. Without someone there to regulate the patient's intake of water, they seem to lose their sense of how much water they've consumed, and so they end up going overboard, which results in hyponatremia, which, to put it bluntly, will eventually mean death without the proper intervention. And initially, this is what I'd suspected had been the case for Lopez. That is, that maybe he'd unknowingly consumed too much water. However, in my reading and research regarding this case, I came across another theory which asserts that Lopez's case might have been the result of the psychotropic medications that he had been prescribed. And of course, the side effects of any prescriptions should have been monitored closely by the prison's medical staff. Either way, no matter the cause, being in the custody of the prison, they were assuming responsibility for Lopez's care, and suffice it to say, providing adequate medical care is something they failed in miserably. And that's something that anyone watching these videos can clearly see. According to a piece on CBS News, Lopez's family filed a lawsuit in federal court on his behalf. This lawsuit alleged that at least 16 state prison staff members did nothing to help Mr. Lopez, even as he suffered a series of seizures on camera. And as we just saw on those snippets of footage, which in total it said had managed to capture the last 6 hours of Lopez's life inside the prison, the guards on duty didn't help Lopez, neither did the medical staff. Rather than help, we only hear staff continually mock Lopez and his condition. In the end, the family was to be paid $3 million by the State Department of Corrections in Colorado. But of course, this could do nothing to bring the victim back, nor to alleviate his suffering during his final hours alive. There's yet one more piece of good news that you could say came out of this for what it's worth. The female voice that can be heard toward the end of the footage belongs to mental health clinician Cheryl Neumeister, who was only one of 3 employees fired shortly after Lopez's death. As The Guardian reports, prison officials also disciplined 5 others connected to the incident. And so even though I have not heard of any criminal charges being filed, which I think there totally should have been, this case did end up dealing out more punishment and more justice than we're typically used to seeing come out of similar cases. To add to the shady dealings of this particular prison, a piece in The Guardian would announce that this incident had gone unreported by prison officials for 17 months, even though state law requires that inmate deaths be reported within 1 day. As for why all this had to go down like this in the first place, The Guardian would also quote Lopez's family attorney, David Lane, who stated that the death of Christopher Lopez was easily preventable and was caused by a mentality that the lives of prisoners are worthless. Lane also shared his hope that the $3 million settlement, quote, sends a message not just to Colorado prison authorities, but to prison and jail authorities all over the country, that the human beings they incarcerate must be treated like human beings, end quote. As interesting as I think it might be to try and examine the issues brought up by this case a little deeper right now, I hope we can try to come back to this again in a future episode. Naturally, I can only share the hope that the family attorney laid out. We need more lawsuits to set examples that are going to impact enough people hard enough that the people collectively are going to decide to say that, all right, enough is enough. We're not going to put up with this shit anymore. I've hence decided to make this the first installment in a new series on venomous minds to do with mental illness and the correctional system, or if you prefer, a broad look at various cases to do with how mental illness is treated inside of our U.S. jails and prisons. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to see more, please like, subscribe, and if you haven't already, and although it's very brand new and has a lot of growing to do at the moment of this taping, consider checking out my Patreon for access to uncensored content and additional documents and media pertaining to the cases you'll see covered here, and possibly more. Thank you sincerely for joining me. Please stick around for the next one, and I will see you there.